Yes, dear students, 8th class. So now we are continuing the same chapter, that is ruling the countryside. So up to now we have discussed about the different methods of the Britishers which they have used to collect the revenue and the money. So they have controlled the Diwani of Bengal. Still, when they thought that they were not having proper income, so they introduced some of the new methods to collect the revenue. So up to now we have discussed about the permanent settlement. Now after permanent settlement they have introduced Mahalwari system. Why they introduced the Mahalwari system? Because they felt that in permanent settlement the amount was fixed and they were not able to increase the amount. So that's why they have introduced Mahalwari system. Now the permission or the in charges were made, those who collect the revenue from the villages, they were made from the villages. The headmen of the village, they asked to collect the revenue from their village or maybe the group of village. So they were called as the villages, they were called as the mahal. So they have to pay the revenue. Mahal means the person, the headman who collect the revenue and give it to the Britishers. Mahal means a British revenue records. Mahal is a revenue estate which may be a villages or a group of villages. So together they have to collect and have to pay it to the company. The charge of collecting and revenue and paying it to the company was given to the village headman. As I've told you, the system came to be known as the Mahalwari system. So, in the northwestern provinces of the Bengal, this Mahalwari system was introduced. In this, the revenue was not fixed and the different areas they were measured and then the things were decided. And after that, they have to pay the revenue. The Monroe system. In the British territories in the south, there was a similar move away from the idea of permanent settlement. The new system that was devised came to be known as the Rohitwar or the Rohitwari. It was tried on a small scale by Captain Alexander Reed. So I'm highlighting that name who introduced the Monroe system. It was on a small scale and it was just like the permanent settlement. So, in some of the areas that were taken by the company after the wars with Tipu Sultan, means the Monroe system, it was introduced after the war they have fought with Tipu Sultan, and it was introduced by the developed by the Thomas Monroe. So that's why they also called it as the Monroe system. So in the south there were no traditional zamindars to collect the revenue. The settlements, they argued, they had to be made directly with the cultivators that were also called as the roits. Means in the south the peasants, they were also called as the roits. Peasants. So before fixing the revenue, there all the fields they were surveyed and as I've told you, measured. Then the assessment was made. So they have to should act as a paternal father figures and protecting the royals under their charge. Mean they show that they were the headmen of the villagers, those who are protecting them. All was not well. Within a few years after the new system were imposed, it was clear that all was not well with them. driven by the desire to increase the income from land revenue. Official fixed too high to revenue demand. So it's a very important paragraph. I just want to say that they have introduced so many things, but the only motive was to earn maximum profit. Maximum profit. And every time they keep on increasing the revenue again and again, and they try to just suppress the peasants, and the peasants they were unable to pay because the revenue demand was increasing day by day. Many of the villagers they have just taken up the loan from the money lenders and unable to pay the loan, and then they just sell off their land and they move to other areas for the laborers as a work of laborers. So every time when new system was introduced, still the result was the same. Now the British they have realized that the countryside could not only yield revenue, they have to grow some crops in this manner which the company they acquire the areas or the cultivation for them. Now here one more important thing they have introduced, that was the cultivation of indigo. I think you are more aware about the world. The indigo, today also we are using indigo as a name of color. Name of color. Today we are using. Today. But at that time it was a plant which was used to dye the clothes, and these are the two areas, two they have shown the figures in which you can see this is the right proper color of indigo. Indigo. So many things in that time, the British persuaded or forced cultivators in various parts of India to produce the indigo, and many other crops they have forced. That was the jute in Bengal, tea in Assam, sugarcane in United Provinces like Uttar Pradesh, wheat in Punjab, cotton in Maharashtra and Punjab, and rice in Madras. So this type of crops they have forced the people to grow. They use a variety of method to expand the cultivation of crops. Now let us read some more for the better understanding of the areas. So indigo was used for a rich blue color. Even many other plants they have grown for the blue color, but the indigo was praised, or indigo was used more widely because the color was extracted from them. It was very rich in color, you can say. The blue that you see in these prints were produced from a plant that I have already told you, that is the indigo, and it was used to work as a blue dye. And still you will be surprised that still we are using that indigo color in our cotton clothes. So the indigo plant grows primarily in the tropics. By the 13th century, Indian indigo was being used by the cloth manufacturers in Italy, France, and Britain to dye cloth. Only small amounts of Indian indigo reached the European markets, and its price was very high. So it was also grown in northern Italy, in some parts of Germany and Britain. But why the people or the governments they ban the import of indigo? So the clothes dyers they preferred indigo as a dye. Indigo produced as a rich blue color. The French began cultivating indigo in the Caribbean islands, and the people they also started the plantation. in many parts of North America, the English. By the end of the 18th century, the demand for the indigo grew further. Britain began to industrialize. At this time, students, at this time, they have started making industries. So the cotton production expanded dramatically. There was an increase in cotton production, uh, and they need more clothes dye for their clothes. So that's why after the industrialization, the demand of indigo increased. And here, I just want to say why the people in India, especially, they don't want to grow indigo. The reason being, the cultivation of indigo was very tough. And after 2 or 3 years growing of indigo, after 2 or 3 years, the land become infertile. It require more water also. Means the water level goes down because of the growth of indigo. The land become infertile, it require more labor, more water, and very tough to grow indigo. So that's why the peasants in India, they don't want to grow indigo. So as the demand increased due to the industrialization, so the Britain turns to India. To complete the rising demand for indigo in Europe, the company in India looked for the ways to expand the area under indigo cultivation. And that's why they convince, or in some areas, they force the peasants to grow more and more indigo to meet the demands in Britain. And they also just send the indigo in other countries also for the larger, you can say, the profit. So the plantation, a large farm operated by a planter employing various form of forced labor. So plantation was done, as I've told you, many of the farmers, they have sell off their land and they have started working as a laborer. So they started working as a laborer in the fields of the Britishers, and they started work as the plantation of work that was associated with the coffee, sugarcane, tobacco, tea, and cotton. So such kind of crops they are forced to grow. Production of coffee, sugarcane, tobacco, tea, and cotton. So in today we have discussed what other policies they have introduced, the Monroe system, Mahalwari system, the things they were the same to collect the more and more revenue. Second thing, at the time of the industrialization, they have started, or you can say, growing more and more indigo in India, and they started forcing the peasants or the farmers to grow more indigo to fulfill the demands of the Britain. So you have to read this chapter and be conscious कि why the demand of indigo was increased. This question is very important. Increased can come in our test. So this is the main question in this page. So rest we will do in our next video. Okay. So thank you. Up to that you have to just read it and try to understand it. And if there is any problem, we can solve it.